Good evening and a very warm welcome to all of you here on the news tonight. I'm Tracy Shilshi and let's head straight to the headlines. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley promises reasonable compliance rules on black money, insists India is neither a tax haven nor does it support tax terrorism. As India prepares to shake off the tag of being one of the most polluted countries, Prime Minister Narendra Modi rolls out the new Air Quality Index for 10 cities. 800 more Indians evacuated from war-torn Yemen since last night. Close to 3,000 stranded citizens brought home so far. India's first indigenous Scorpene submarine is undocked in Mumbai. The submarine is expected to be commissioned in 2016. And the Congress plans a farmers' rally in Delhi to protest against the land bill. Party Vice President Rahul Gandhi is expected to attend amid debate on his likely elevation as party president. Our top story, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today insisted that every legitimate demand cannot be termed tax terrorism. He also assured industrialists that black money holders will get a rational option to comply with the law and come clean on black money.
A reasonable compliance rule to bring black money is what Finance Minister Arun Jaitley assured industry on Monday. Jaitley was referring to the undisclosed foreign income and assets imposition of Tax Bill 2015 tabled in Lok Sabha last month. The new bill imposes a 300% penalty along with rigorous imprisonment of up to 3 to 10 years for offenders.
The legislature or the legislation to be approved is fair enough to say there will be a compliance window. All suggestions with regard to that compliance window and its manner and extent of compliance, all suggestions are welcome. Parliament is yet to consider it. But after that, globally also let us remember the regime is becoming extremely challenging.
Jaitley said that while India's tax regime won't be confrontational, he said it won't allow the country to be a tax haven either. Jaitley also emphasized that defaulters should pay valid demands by tax authorities. The remarks come just 2 days after tax authorities slapped tax notices on 100 foreign institutional investors to pay $5 to $6 billion for untaxed gains made by them in 2011, 2012 and earlier.
Even when legitimate taxes are demanded, where courts have settled issues, even though there may be demands of the past, amendments have been made for the future. If people are aggrieved, they have a right to challenge it. But having lost in courts, you can't refer to the process as tax terrorism.
Finance Minister also said the Goods and Services Tax Constitutional Amendment Bill will be moved in the second half of the budget session of Parliament.
Arun Jaitley asserted that governments globally are moving towards a more transparent tax regime, and with the G20 provisions of automatic exchange of information, disclosures and compliances would only increase. Swiss Bank has also upped black money vigil after India threatened criminal action. So how far would these efforts help India in unearthing black money? Well, that remains to be seen. Reporting from Delhi with camera person Sanjay Kumar, Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
Keywords being their tax terrorism. In fact, this evening we got Mr. J.K. Mittal, who's the co-chairman of the National Council on Indirect Taxes at ASSOCHAM, joining us there with us. Thanks so much, Mr. Mittal, for joining us. Tax terrorism, what Arun Jaitley, of course, saying there, what is due must be paid. A simple statement there, but of course, FIIs and FPIs, would be looking at it differently. What was your reaction to what Mr. Jaitley said today?
My reaction is that I think this government and particularly Mr. Jaitley is fulfilling the promise which they have made in their political statement that they will bring the black money. They are tightening the screw that there should not be generation of black money. At the same time, they are reassuring the investor throughout the world that this country will provide you the environment where there will not be any tax terrorism. That means the assessee will not be harassed unnecessarily. Unnecessarily demand will not be created. But at the same time, Mr. Jaitley has stated very categorically that India is not a country where you can generate the black money like Switzerland and many other country, or the Mauritius routes. Generally, the people feel that people can generate the route where the black money could be generated. I think so. His statement is reassuring the investor throughout the world.
All right, but then, the FIs and the FPIs, being asked to pay MAT of 20% now, they're of course bringing back, that very criticized retrospective tax law, which the previous regime had, brought in, got criticized over. They're of course saying they're going to be challenging this. This is perhaps the first time since 1993 that FIs in fact have been asked to pay such a big load of tax.
There are two things probably we have to make the difference. One is that the retrospective amendment, which Mr. Jaitley has already said, this government will not make any retrospective amendment. Second thing is that this tax demand which you are talking about, that is not because of the retrospective amendment any has been brought under the
That's right.
law.
Absolutely. We understand that. But they're of course saying, yes, they're of course saying that the new financial bill is stating that, things are going to get easier for us. But what is this? Suddenly, just before that new tax regime is going to be implemented, you come up and get this huge, almost 5 to 6 billion of tax demand that they have to pay now.
I only can suggest one thing this government has to do, that the tax officials are generally sleeping over their activity, and all of a sudden they wake up. That's why these kind of issue come up. Probably the tax officials should be held responsible that every year they have to assess whatever the tax liability is there, particularly in those cases where the huge tax demand could be generated. This is one of the issue probably which the tax official failed to examine in the past. That's why all of a sudden such a huge demand they are generating for the previous years. I don't think so. This disputes, is going to be settled like that. The demand has been raised, the people will pay. Of course, ultimately the court will settle whether the demand which they are asking the tax official is correct under the law or not. But I fully support this view that all of a sudden you cannot generate or demand such a huge demand from the investor or the taxpayers, whoever may be, whether it is FII or maybe the industrialist or maybe the professionals or maybe the individual taxpayers. I think so this government has to examine this issue not only in the income tax but for the other taxes also.
That's right. Specific departments have been lax, and that is perhaps what is taking a toll now on the FIs and FPIs. While we are talking about, you're of course lauding the government, saying that they are following the laws. This is a good step being taken by them. But a government that is being seen as pro-corporate, do you think they're also trying to give out a message here?
What I feel even in the court, today I was there, and there is a general feeling even, all the persons that these tax officials have not been trained properly. They have to be trained. They have to be made accountable. If I will just ask you one question, if such a huge demand, even if suppose the court upheld that this demand is maintainable, who is the responsible officer that who could not look this demand for the last several years? He should be held accountable, because this is not the transaction which was not known to anybody.
Yes.
This transaction, this is not a money which you have unearthed, which was hidden somewhere else. A transaction legitimately done by any person, that should be examined at a reasonable period of time, not for the last several years.
All right. We appreciate your perspective there, Mr. Mittal. Thanks so much for joining us and giving us, of course, an idea of really what we can expect in the days to come. And perhaps somewhere in the middle is where things went wrong. The government just following the law there. All right. We'll keep a track on developments on this front. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi blames the changing lifestyles for rising pollution levels in the country. With India having the not-so-flattering distinction of being the most polluted country in the world, the Prime Minister today blamed the economic development that have brought these lifestyle changes. He said this while rolling out a new air quality index to 10 cities.
A ranking of 174 out of 178 countries for air quality. 2014's most polluted city on earth as the national capital. Distinction of having 13 of the 20 most polluted cities in this world. These are tags that India has to live with on a daily basis.
Not the best of distinctions, but something that we all need to sit up and take notice of. As the quality of air in our cities deteriorates and becomes an increasing health hazard, the government seems to have finally sat up and decided to do something about it. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched a new air quality index for 10 cities across the country on Monday.
हम कार्बन एमिशन को रोकने के लिए जो सारे नीति नियम बना रहे हैं, विश्व के अंदर एक बंधनों की दिशा में हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, लेकिन हम कोई अपनी लाइफस्टाइल बदलने के लिए तैयार नहीं है.
Prime Minister Modi believes that changing lifestyles spurred by economic development are to blame for rising pollution levels. He has urged Indians to cut down on waste and conserve resources even as they become wealthier, in case we want to avoid an environmental catastrophe.
अच्छा, कुछ लोगों ने मान लिया कि पर्यावरण की रक्षा और विकास दोनों को आमने सामने, ये सोच मूलभूत गलत है. दोनों को साथ साथ चलाया जा सकता है, दोनों को साथ साथ आगे बढ़ाया जा सकता है. कुछ डूज एंड डोंट्स होते हैं, इसका पालन होना चाहिए.
Modi also urged all Indians to set an example when it came to protecting the environment.
शोषण ये हमारी प्रवृत्ति नहीं है, और इसलिए विश्व इस संकट से जो गुजर रहा है, मैं अभी भी मानता हूं कि दुनिया को इस क्षेत्र में बचाने के लिए नेतृत्व भारत ने करना चाहिए.
Millions die due to air pollution every year. In India, the number stands at over 6,20,000 people. Much of the air pollution in the country comes from coal-fired power plants, crop burning, domestic cooking with firewood or cow dung, and diesel-run vehicles. Black carbon, which constitutes most of the tiny particulate matter known as PM 2.5, is also blamed for up to 20% of global warming. A WHO study says Delhi has an annual average of 153 micrograms of PM 2.5 per cubic meter, a highly dangerous air to breathe in. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, around 800 more Indians have been evacuated from war-torn Yemen since last night in one of the biggest rescue missions undertaken by the Indian Navy and the Air Force. Close to 3,000 stranded Indians have been evacuated so far. The Defence Minister says almost all Indians caught in the crossfire will be brought back home.
Another 800 stranded Indians have been evacuated in the last 24 hours from Yemen. Navy, Air Force and Special Air India flights have so far rescued nearly 3,000 Indians. Around 200 foreigners have also been evacuated by the Indian forces. Early on Monday, Air India flights landed in Mumbai and Kochi with fresh batch of evacuees with their share of horrific experiences in war-torn Yemen.
Too much people stranded, and with that people cannot go outside with bus or any mode of transport, and power is not there and water is not there, and in due course the food shortage will also be there.
हम लोग जब उधर से आया भूखा सा 3-4 दिन तो खाना ही नहीं मिला, थोड़ा बहुत पानी वगैरह कुछ था, मुड़मुड़ा था, बिस्किट थोड़ा था हम लोग खाया. तो फिर उधर से आया, हमारा इंडियन नेवी जैसा स्वागत किया हम लोग का, सिक्योरिटी के साथ साथ हम लोग का अच्छा फूड, अच्छा खाना, मेडिकल का बंदोबस्त सब कुछ अच्छे से किया सर.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar praised the efforts undertaken by the Indian forces amid heavy bombing in Yemen. Prime Minister also heaped praise on his ministers Sushma Swaraj and VK Singh for their coordination to execute the rescue mission without any casualty.
They have been doing very good job. I think by now almost 3,000 people have been evacuated, and by today evening I think almost all Indians, including some other foreigners also who were in desperate condition, have been shifted without single injury, single loss of life.
Meanwhile, ground situation in Yemen remains grim as fighting intensified in capital Sana'a and Aden. Heavy clashes between Houthi rebels and pro-government forces left around dozens killed. The Saudi-led coalition is planning to cut off supply to the rebels to wrest control over Aden.
We hope in a few days that they will control most of these cities. We assure that we cut all, and I show you the videos, we cut all movement toward Aden to make sure that they not have any supply.
The International Committee for the Red Cross has been granted approval to start sending aids to Yemen. With thousands of people without food and water for days now, humanitarian relief has hardly reached the war-torn nation so far after 10 days of offensive by Saudi-led airstrikes. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The first of 6 French-designed Scorpene submarines was launched into the sea today, initiating the process for extensive trials. The Scorpene submarines are being manufactured in Mumbai. They are expected to be inducted in the Navy by 2018, about 4 years later than planned.
In a big push forward for the Indian Navy's modernization plans, the first Scorpene submarine was launched into water on Monday. The Scorpene submarine has been designed by French engineers. The diesel-electric submarines have not only been delayed by 4 years, but they have also overshot the budget by nearly 5,000 crore rupees. The total cost of the project now is 23,000 crore rupees. The submarines are being built at the state-run Mazgaon docks in Mumbai, and one submarine is expected to be delivered every 9 months. The Scorpene submarines feature reduced acoustic emissions for stealth, integrated weapon system to achieve improved performance over previous generations, and automated systems to reduce the crew requested to operate the vessel. The Air Independent Propulsion System, or AIP, provided to the Scorpene submarines extends the submerged endurance 3 to 4 times. Each submarine features 6 bow-located torpedo tubes that can carry 18 weapons. The Scorpene's torpedo tubes are compatible with F-17, Black Shark and Mk-48 torpedoes and Exocet missiles. These submarines can perform anti-submarine warfare, anti-surface warfare, reconnaissance and intelligence, mine-laying and special operations missions. At the launch, the Defence Minister also talked about new standard operating procedures that have been initiated in the wake of recent accidents.
We have reiterated whatever are the SOPs, made people responsible, accountable for it, told them very clearly that you should hammer these SOPs in the mind of every sailor, particularly more so on a submarine, because submarine environment is very congested and critical. It also puts person under pressure because of closed environment. So we have asked them to follow this. You will find that there are no accidents now.
6 Scorpene submarines are expected to join the Indian naval fleet over the next few years. Currently, the Navy has 14 conventional diesel-electric powered submarines, which include 10 Russian Kilo class and 4 German HDW class vessels. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, militants struck thrice in Jammu and Kashmir today within a span of just 4 hours. One attack took place in the Shopian district of Kashmir, where terrorists gunned down at least 3 policemen. The police personnel had gone to investigate a crime in a village when terrorists opened fire at them. Hours earlier, terrorists had shot at and critically injured a police officer in Patan in Baramulla district. The officer came under attack in a bus in which armed militants were also travelling. The third incident took place in Tral, in which a civilian was injured. According to the police, the civilian was attacked by militants on suspicion that he was a police informer. With that, a quick break here, but we'll be leaving you now with visuals of BGP's 35th Foundation Day event as party workers skillfully lined up to form a massive human flag in the shape of the party symbol.
राज्यसभा टीवी की कोशिश, बात इंसानियत की, जो आज भी वेश्यावृत्ति के चंगुल से नहीं निकल पा रहे। घंटों की मेहनत और मुआवजे के नाम पर चंद रुपए। कहानी जंगल के रखवालों की।
सोलिगा वैसे तो कई देवी देवताओं को पूजते हैं, लेकिन इनके मुख्य कुल देवता महादेश्वर हैं।
सफर लहरों की सौदागरों के साथ।
अब मछली पकड़ना घाटे का सौदा बनता जा रहा है।
देखिए स्पेशल रिपोर्ट सिर्फ राज्यसभा टीवी पर।
Welcome back to the news tonight. Now, Congress today finalized its plan of holding a mega rally in Delhi this month to protest against the proposed land bill. Party Vice President Rahul Gandhi is expected to attend this rally, ending over a month of hiatus from political activity. The issue of his elevation to the post of party president once again took the centre stage during the meeting.
Accusing the NDA government of working against the interest of farmers, Congress has decided to put up a show of strength in the national capital on 19th April. Senior party leaders finalized the plans for the rally on Monday. The party has been actively protesting against the proposed land acquisition bill since the centre moved it in parliament. The rally will also see party Vice President Rahul Gandhi making a public appearance after a month-long leave.
19 अप्रैल 2015 को रामलीला मैदान में कांग्रेस की विशाल किसान खेत मजदूर रैली होने वाली है, जिसे सोनिया जी व अन्य वरिष्ठ नेता संबोधित करेंगे.
Meanwhile, the issue of Rahul's elevation to the post of party president has once again taken centre stage. Some leaders expressed the view that Sonia Gandhi should continue to lead the party.
I believe very sincerely and very honestly that Mrs. Gandhi is the only and our best leader, most capable of leading the party, and brought us to power in 2004.
We need both the president and the vice president. But we know that Sonia Gandhi, through her own leadership qualities, brought the Congress back to power in 2004.
Amid speculation of Rahul Gandhi replacing his mother as the party president, the process of organizational elections within the party has been put in motion. The process will come to an end by August this year. Vishal Dahiya, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you some more national news updates in Nationwide. The CBI on Monday refused to investigate the death of IAS officer DK Ravi. It objected to the Karnataka government conditions for the probe, including a 3-month deadline to complete it. But the latest reports say that the government has now taken away that 3-month deadline, and the CBI will now be investigating this case. The IAS officer who had taken on the sand mafia in Kolar district was found hanging from a ceiling fan in his official residence in Bengaluru on the 17th of March. A Goa court granted anticipatory bail to Fab India Scandalin store manager Chaitali Sawant in connection with a case of voyeurism. HRD Minister Smriti Irani had filed the case after finding a CCTV camera in the trial room of the store. The manager was underground since then and reached court for the anticipatory bail. The Madhya Pradesh government ordered an SIT probe into the killing of a police constable allegedly by the Sand Mafia in Morena district on Sunday. The State Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan held a high-level meeting into the incident. The CBI has resent the notice to TMC's General Secretary Subrata Bakshi seeking details in the Sharda chit fund scam. The agency sought details of the party's source of income and expenditure during 2010 to 2013. It's been given a week's time to respond to the notice. A fire broke out in a 3-storied residential building in UP's Meerut district on Monday morning, killing 6 people, including 4 children. The fire also left 2 others injured. Residents said the fire broke out after petrol kept in the ground floor caught fire. International news now, and 2 Australian death row inmates have lost their appeal to challenge their clemency rejection in Indonesia. Both, however, pledged to fight on despite ambiguity over legal avenues available to avoid the death penalty. Diplomatic efforts to save the men have also backfired, and with this decision, the relation between Indonesia and Australia are bound to be further frayed.
Menolak gugatan perlawanan dari pelawan, menyatakan penetapan Ketua Pengadilan Tata Usaha Negara Jakarta nomor 29G 2015 Turun Jakarta tanggal 24 Februari 2015 dipertahankan.
No mercy is the ruling by an Indonesian court that rejected the attempt of 2 Australian drug smugglers who tried to challenge their executions. Andrew Chan and Mayuran Sukumaran are accused of being members of the drug group Bali 9. The court has ruled that they cannot challenge President Joko Widodo's decision to refuse them clemency. Both are due to face a firing squad for their role in a failed 2005 heroin smuggling plot.
I am not satisfied with the judgment today, but indeed we will have to respect what the court has decided. But it's not stopping us to give our continuous effort, and therefore we are about to file a constitutional review.
The ruling could further strain the relationship between Indonesia and Australia. In February, all living former Prime Ministers of Australia made a united plea for Indonesia to spare their lives. Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop said, and I quote her now, "Both men have undergone extensive rehabilitation and I will continue to make representations to my counterpart, just as Australia will continue to use all diplomatic options to seek a stay of execution." Indonesia also faced criticism from other countries whose nationals are facing execution. But President Widodo, who took office last year, has been taking a tough stance on drug crime. In January, he authorized executions of 6 people, including 5 foreigners convicted of drug offences. Chan and Sukumaran were arrested in Bali in 2005 while attempting to smuggle heroin to Australia. They were sentenced to death in 2006, but their families argued that they are now reformed characters and should be shown mercy. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you more international news updates in Global Buzz. Bangladesh's Supreme Court today rejected the final review petition by convicted war criminal Mohammad Kamaruzzaman to overturn his death sentence. He was convicted for atrocities committed during the country's war of independence from Pakistan in 1971. The Jamaat-e-Islami leader was found guilty of genocide and torture of unarmed civilians in 2013. A severe storm in Bangladesh killed at least 24 people and injured several others. The strong winds also caused a lot of devastation, flattening several houses. Bogra district was among the worst affected. The Kenyan government has named the mastermind behind the university attack that took place last Thursday. Al-Shabaab leader Mohammed is believed to be the man behind the attacks, in which 147 people were killed. Kenya has offered a bounty of $215,000 to find the mastermind, slapping a most wanted notice against him. Europe's CERN Physics Research Centre has restarted their Large Hadron Collider after 2 years. The restarting of the collider signifies a new journey into discovering dark matter. The machine had previously shut down 2 years ago for a refit. The collider is also called the Big Bang LHC, which is hoped to solve the mysteries of how the universe was created. All right, some sports now. And Sania Mirza has won the doubles title at the Miami Open. Sania and her doubles partner, Martina Hingis of Switzerland, defeated the second-seeded Russian pair of Elena Vesnina and Ekaterina Makarova in straight sets on the final on Sunday. The top-seeded Indo-Swiss pair overcame a sluggish start to take the title with 7-5, 6-1 scoreline. Sania and Martina were trailing 2-5 in the opening set but regrouped and turned the tables on their opponents by winning 8 games in a row. This is Sania's 25th career title and also a second win with former world number 1 Martina Hingis in as many tournaments. They had beaten the same Russian pair to win the Indian Wells earlier. Following this win, Sania is now 145 points away from becoming the world number 1 doubles player in individual rankings. And now let's get you some quick sports updates in Sportsbeat. New Zealand beat India 2-1 in their second match in the Aslan Shah Cup today. Kiwis took the lead through their skipper Simon Child in the third quarter of the match. India equalised moments later through Akash Deep, but Kiwis scored another in the dying minutes of the match to score their second win in the tournament. India missed several chances in the match and failed to capitalise. India began their campaign with a draw against South Korea on Sunday. In tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic lifted the Miami Open today. He defeated Britain's Andy Murray at Key Biscayne. This is Djokovic's 5th title at the Miami Open, followed by his triumphs at the Australian Open and the Indian Wells. And Cristiano Ronaldo scored 5 goals as Real Madrid thrashed Granada 9-1 in the La Liga encounter on Sunday. The FIFA Player of the Year hit a first-half hat-trick within 8 minutes after Gareth Bale's opener. The win puts Real Madrid a point behind leaders Barcelona on the league table. And that's all we could pack in the show tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Good night.